Welcome to the Barker Podcast Collection.
I suck, you suck, I suck at Call of Duty.
Welcome to the Not Playing Podcast. My name's Rob Howard, and this week I'm joined by
Patrick Kane
and Adam Scott. Hello.
You can contact us on email at notplayingpodcast@gmail.com or follow us on Twitter at notplayingpod. So what have you been playing then, Pat?
So I have been playing a little bit of the Vanishing of Ethan Carter, the new version, which has partial VR support, and it is the most amazing thing.
Is this the PS4 version that came out a few weeks back? It's now on PC.
I think it's rebuilt with Unreal 4.
Yeah, I think it is, yeah.
And yeah, it's not actually officially supporting VR yet. I think that's actually meant to be like a month or two away. So there's a couple of issues, mainly with the actual like game menus and stuff like that.
Okay.
But I just wanted to talk about it because it is amazing. It looks absolutely stunning in VR. So you remember when I was playing a lot of Skyrim, and I said like a huge part of it is just that it kind of drops you in this world.
Yeah.
Well, Ethan Carter is exactly the same thing, but even more realistic because of all the photogrammetry. Quite often I found that like you'd just sort of casually catch something out of the corner of your eye that just looked like 100% real. And that's the kind of things that's going to trigger presence when people are playing it with proper headsets down the line with better resolution and stuff. But even on the DK2, after playing it through on a screen and stuff, it looks absolutely amazing. So I'm struggling a little bit to run it at higher settings.
Really?
Yeah, it's quite intensive, but I think it just needs a bit of optimization. I think it can actually be fixed, but seriously, it is amazing. Just the leaves and particle effects coming down, just the lighting through the trees, it's just made for VR. Like I thought that all the way through playing it the first time, and it absolutely is. And I just wanted to tell you how good it looked, just because that is what games are going to look like. You know, that's what these kind of realistic photogrammetry driven games are going to look like, and we are going to fucking love it. It's amazing. But yeah, I haven't played much of that at all. Just sort of like ran around the world and stuff and sort of checked out some.
Is it basically it's exactly the same game? It's just now VR
exactly
enabled.
the same game. Exactly the same game. They've updated the graphics, and yeah, they've added VR support.
So is this? Because I know you guys have talked about Vanishing Ethan Carter. I haven't played it, but is it? Can you do anything differently in the game, or is it a very linear story? I mean, are you doing anything different? It's very linear.
It's 100% linear.
So it's about basically experiencing the tale as it's being told in the environment. That
Exactly.
Okay,
I think
cool.
it's about kind of 6 hours long. Each kind it's sort of like an hour per level, although they're not really levels. They're kind of portions of the story.
Yeah, they're just things you find in no particular order.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're all about kind of an hour long, so it lends itself to like a good sort of playtime in if you kind of segment it that way.
Yeah. Oh, it sounds like something I could consume, certainly.
Definitely,
Yeah.
and without spoiling anything at all, it goes to some fairly Lovecraftian places.
It does.
Yeah,
yes.
I just did an image search on Google, and there's a horrible one in here.
Yeah, it really goes all the way there.
Tab.
But it's got that kind of whimsical sort of like exploration thing. I got a little irritated with the lack of hand holding, admittedly.
Yeah.
But it's a small complaint, because I think they fixed it in a way as well so that you can sort of see what you've missed if you get to the end and there's bits you haven't done. But
They
there was a couple
made
of
it
bits
so you
I-
don't have to backtrack anymore. Actually, that
Yeah.
is one thing they changed about the new version.
Oh,
I actually love the fact that it has no hand holding, because
Yeah.
it's like I say, it sort of just drops you in the world and it goes like, just get on with it, just walk somewhere, just go and find something, and that's a very kind of unique thing. There's not many games that do that,
No.
not successfully anyway. And like the way that like the world is designed, there's kind of like there's a contrast between what you're meant to feel and take away from the experience and what is actually being shown to you. If you change the music, if you took out the story elements or changed them, it's actually a really kind of tranquil and really kind of beautiful, peaceful world that you're in.
Oh, the music's awesome.
For most of it anyway. But having that music there just gives the whole thing a dark kind of taint. And I love that combination, because it's not like spooky, it's not eerie, or like there's nothing sort of cheesy, there's no cheap tricks going on. It's all about kind of like making you use your imagination to paint like more dimensions to the world than there actually are. And that's like that. I think that's wicked game design.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to seize upon a segue here because, sorry, I'll just say quickly, if you did buy Vanishing of Ethan Carter originally, I just noticed I've got Vanishing of Ethan Carter Redux in my Steam library now. So
yeah, everyone gets the new version, which is cool.
Well, it sounds pretty awesome. I'm going to add it to my wish list. Wish list.
It's
Games I'm
already
never going to play.
It's already turned up in a Steam sale once, so...
it was like £5 or £6 on the Humble Bundle this week. I don't know if it still is.
Oh. It's total war at the moment on the Humble Bundle.
Oh no, so by the time I get around to playing it, it'll be... We'll probably be trading in, like, DNA credits or something. I wouldn't... I'm not in that much of a rush.
Well, we'll get to your woes very shortly.
I don't want to be moan about it, don't worry.
But yeah, I just wanted to transition there because the music in Ethan Carter is done by Austin Wintory. Is that correct?
No, I don't think it is.
Oh no, he did Banner
he
Saga.
did Journey.
And Banner Saga.
And Banner Saga, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I thought that was my segue there. Oh, fuck it. Anyway, that guy did the music for a game that I played the other day called Sunset, which I'd had in my Steam library for ages. I think I picked it up in a Humble Bundle, actually. But yeah, Sunset is a game by... I forget who it's by. But anyway, it's basically a first-person game, and you play this African-American cleaning lady in this fictitious South American dictatorship. And basically, it takes place every day, well, one day in every week of a year, and you are just going in and you have a list of chores to do, and you do them. And it will take you to a different part of this kind of grand, elaborate 2-story apartment. And as you're going around and doing these things, you will notice things in the environment that will kind of reference some other events that have taken place that week, be they small or grand in terms of what's going on in the news in that country. It's a weird game. It took me about 3 hours to play it. I wouldn't say it's entirely enjoyable, but it's an interesting experiment in interactive narrative that I felt like I needed to play for myself. It was
an interesting art style.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I like the all the color palette they've chose for all the scenes. It's really cool.
Yeah. So it's interesting. You can kind of take the story in different directions because the guy who you work for, he leaves notes around, and you can decide whether you want to reply to them or not. You don't get to decide what you reply, but I think by replying you can kind of initiate another element to the storyline that I don't know if I uncovered it all or not, but it was fairly interesting experience, but I wouldn't say it paid off in any kind of major way. But you know, I like to try out some of these more sort of experimental games from time to time.
Well, it's good to break the mold, isn't it? I
well,
mean,
that's it. I mean, I just finished Witcher 3, and I just felt like when I finished it, aside from it being, as I tweeted 127 hours of the best gameplay I've ever experienced. I just felt like I'd been released, and I'd just been going a bit crazy playing all these little games that I had. So yeah, I had a week off as well, so I just was devouring them. So yeah. So anyway, what have you been doing then, Adam?
Well, I think last time I was on the podcast, I'd said that I was going through a bit of a gaming fugue state, if you want to call it that, and I couldn't really satisfy myself with anything, and I haven't really broken the back of that, to be honest. I dabbled with things. I played The Witcher 2 for a while because that was in my Steam library, and I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the combat, and I enjoyed some other stuff, but I just couldn't really get engaged with it, and I didn't really know why. And I think, I've lamented many times that I find it quite difficult to do gaming because of the time, the limited time I have available to do it these days. And I think the problem I've got is that the games I want to play are, I want to be playing Mad Max, I want to be playing Witcher 3, and I want to be playing a lot of the AAA stuff with with the high production values and the exciting gameplay and everything else. But on one hand, I have got very, very weary with the constant attempts by publishers to sodomise the gaming population, or rather, sodomise the gamer's wallet, perhaps I should say, by pushing out poor content stuff and charging a lot of money for it and expecting people just to soak it up, because that's what we have been doing for a long time. So I've got a kind of ethical issue with AAA gaming at the moment. But also, as much as the kind of games that I would fit into my my schedule are more like the games like Sunset and the Vanishing of Ethan Carter and these kind of more interesting experimental stuff that I'm sure if I actually got stuck into them, I would probably enjoy. But for some reason, I load these games up and I was like, I like it, but I can't quite grasp it. So I'm kind of stuck in the middle, not being able to have a direction where the kind of games I want to play are appealing to me. And I don't know whether this is just a phase I'm going through, Mum, or whether it's something more serious than that. But I just kind of went back and went, well, I have one night a week that I do gaming, and I just found myself drifting back into games that are tried and trusted for me. So I went back onto doing Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, which I absolutely love, and I've been playing it almost constantly since it came out in one form or another. It's just because I love co-op gaming, and although there are bugs and issues with it, I know it, and I haven't got to. And although I know a lot of people have an issue with playing games that they've played before, and I've done that, and I totally agree with that, but when you can't decide what direction to go into, there is something lovely about picking up a game that you know very, very well. You know exactly all the ins and outs, and just getting on with it and owning it. People are still playing WoW, and that's all they ever play because that's what they know, and it's in their blood. And there are some games like that for me, and the Mass Effect games for me are probably the ones I would go. They're my go-to stuff for that. Kind of feels like putting on that soppy record that you and your girlfriend used to love, and you still love even though she's left you. It's kind of got that feeling for me. So I was playing Mass Effect 3, and I suddenly decided, okay, I'm just going to do another Mass Effect run through. So I've started Mass Effect 1 again with a new Commander Shepard, doing different things, making different choices. And
how does that hold up these days? Because
well, I downloaded some of the graphical tweaks. There's some high resolution texture packs, and ENB. What's names widget driver thingies that I've injected into the game, and it's made a lot of difference. But no, I mean the fact of it, Mass Effect 1's gameplay is a bit ropey, and it always was really. The combat's pretty awful in my opinion, and I fucking hate driving the Mako around. But so I'm kind of limiting myself just to trying to do missions that I know will have a carry-on effect into the further games, because I've played them through so many times now, I know it.
Yeah.
But I'm still, this is the thing, although I've done, I think this is maybe my 6th or 7th Commander Shepherd that I've done. I know it's crazy, but I haven't. I haven't always done Mass Effect 1. I went to Mass Effect Gamesaves.com, I think it is, or there's a website where you can download saves that people have uploaded, and so you can take the save, you can import it, start a new Mass Effect 2 or Mass Effect 3 run with those choices that other players have done, and then you can
right.
You can, if you want to create your own Shepherd, you can do it, and so basically you don't have to play through the games all the way through.
Is there a lot of diversity in the decision points? Does it change things dramatically?
There are,
because I've only played it once, because I figured that's how I approached it.
There are quite a lot. I mean, obviously the fundamental story all the way through is pretty much the same, but by the time you get to the end of Mass Effect 3, you can okay, give you an example. My first and canon Shepherd, if you like, got all the way through to Mass Effect 3. I pretty much played him straight, made all the right choices through the game, just through natural gameplay things, and pretty much I think all of my crew had survived up until the end of the game, and so on. And my second Shepherd, that I lost people at the end of Mass Effect 2, and that was a complete slap in the face to me, because I didn't even know you could. And then all of a sudden, then the third time I played it, I lost even more people, but different people in different ways, and that had a really serious effect when I got into Mass Effect 3. When I played Mass Effect 3 with the first two Shepherds, I kind of had similar decision points, although I'd made some different things. I had different people in different places, and some people had reacted to me differently, but it wasn't huge. But with the third one, there was some pretty fundamental changes, and one of the all I'm going to say is, to anyone who hasn't played Mass Effect 3 by yet, or if not, why not, if you're interested, but one of the races that are turned into my allies actually got completely wiped out as a direct result of something that happened in Mass Effect 2.
Oh, wow.
So, and there are a number of issues like, that's right, actually, in my first playthrough, one of the major characters in the first game, Rex, didn't survive. And that was, actually, I think that was when that game really struck it for me, because I don't remember playing a game where choices that had happened, or whatever happened during the gameplay, I felt a real sense of loss when that guy died. I was actually screaming at my monitor, no, what? I was so tempted to reload. I was so tempted. But I thought, no, I'm going to live with the consequences of my actions. And that's the way I've played these games all the way through, really. It's like, oh, fuck, she's dead. What am I going to do? And it was interesting seeing the difference because the Krogan, the race that he is, the Krogans, they become one of your allies in the end game. But because Rex isn't there, they've got a new leader who is not quite as amenable to playing nicely with the other races as Rex would have been. And so, although there wasn't a huge difference in the actual gameplay, a lot of the dialogue was very different, and certainly the tone of where that race was going. If there had been more games, you could see that branching off into quite a nasty situation. So I think, see, for me, I love games with choices that have impact, and a lot of people have said, oh, Mass Effect 3 took away my choices and it didn't make a fucking difference. I'm so sick to the ballsack with that argument. I'm not really interested in it. I totally respect people who felt like the ending let them down, but, and yes, I completely understand where that came from, but it was 3 years ago, and I actually went on. I went on the BioWare forums just today, and there are still people picking fights about it. And I just kind of think, what the fuck are you doing with your lives? Get one. I don't know what to do.
It's like people on the Steam forums who've played Ark for like 700 hours and then given it a negative review and said it's shit. But it's like
twists my nipples like no effect. 700 hours and you don't like it. What the fuck are you doing for 700 hours? It's like I've been stapling myself with this nail gun for 5 hours, and it's really not enjoyable at all. I don't think you should do it. I just want to punch people like that. But So anyway, that's what I've been doing. Basically, playing Mass Effect 3 and trying to get my gaming mojo back to actually do stuff that I can invest my time into and feel like it's worthwhile.
Yeah, well, to kind of carry on from what you're saying, though, I'd like to recommend the new Wolfenstein games. I think
Yeah, they are amazing.
I think they might fit that bill, to be honest, just because it might take you back to a simpler time
Yeah.
when things were shot in the face, and that was kind of it. Nazis would
I'd say
be
just
killed.
go straight to the old blood.
Really?
Yeah, well, it's a prequel anyway,
Yeah.
and it is
Oh.
actually in it. Castle Wolfenstein
And
is there.
it's the most Wolfenstein, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the one that totally taps the vein of the original.
And it's less of a time sink. I think I did it in about 7 hours. It's in 2 parts.
I thought it was more fun. I just thought it was more fun.
It is more fun. Well, the conceit with the Nazis at the end was really cool because it kind of gives it a bit of a Half-Life thing where you can kind of set the cat amongst the pigeons, kind of, to an extent. There's some like big gun things you can get in. That's fun. But yeah, you get to like, it doesn't mess around at all. You're straight in there, with the dual shotguns, just carnage. And also some of the level design is awesome. Like, I think it's the second level where you're kind of outside the castle and you've got like to get to 3 different points, and it doesn't really matter which order you do it in. I was never lost. You can every mission you can go into with a mixture of stealth and action, so you can kind of see how well you can do with the stealth. I mean, some missions, like sort of set pieces I did, because just to explain it, you have like these kind of lieutenants, and it kind of gives you a vague idea of where they are, and if you can take them out without, causing a fracas, that's kind of all you have to do, really. You can kind of make your way to the exit, or just take out what's there. Basically, if it all goes to shit, they'll start summoning reinforcements, and it turns into an absolute bloodbath until you take out the lieutenants. Luckily, there's plenty of ammo. I do sometimes feel like I am just constantly pressing E like the whole way through because there's so much fucking armor and health and shit to pick up. But yeah, it's on the id Tech engine, I think, the new games, and it runs superbly well. It looks fantastic. And yeah, it's just a really solid shooter with buckets and buckets of uber violence.
That might fit the bill. I was seriously tempted to reinstall Doom 3 and play that the other day, just because I've never actually made it all the way to the end, but I bloody enjoy the gunplay in that game.
Yeah. It was
I think I could do with something that's just fast and slick shooting.
But yeah, like Rob said, I played the Wolfenstein: The Old Blood. If you're looking for something that's just no-brainer fun, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Well, I've got to get to the end of Mass Effect 3 now, otherwise it'll be a disaster. So
Well, yeah.
I'll maybe in a couple of months.
Another bit of a no-brainer fun I've been playing is Rocket League.
I've heard lots about
I've
this.
been watching all these hilarious videos of that on Reddit.
It's fantastic. I think it came out around July time. It's about 15 quid on the Steam store. I actually got it free because I pre-ordered the Steam controller. They gave that and Portal 2 away with it.
It's also free. It was also free on PlayStation Plus on the PS4, I think.
Cool. But yeah, it's basically just playing football, but with cars. It's amazingly good fun, as you can imagine. These cool little kind of like Mario Kart style, rocket cars that are all kind of very kind of cartoony and extreme and very bright and colourful. And you've got this kind of, this football pitch with a kind of cage around it. So your car can actually like boost up and shoot up the walls and go all the way to the other side of the pitch, and it's crazy fast. You switch between sort of like a forward view and a ball view, which will kind of just track where the ball is. When the ball is sort of like over you can jump, and that will sort of do a kind of header on it. So you can actually score goals by making your car jump. And generally you'll kind of just like boost it around. You sort of collect these little speed up power-ups that are all over the track, and that gives you your kind of your boost, your NOS. It's just immensely good fun. Like it's a game that makes someone who doesn't like football by putting cars in it. But yeah, like it's just pure fun basically. I think it's got offline mode, but I've just been playing it online, just with strangers.
So how's the matchmaking then? You just drop into any random game?
Really good and really quick. I absolutely recommend it. It's a lot of fun. I'd sort of had my eye on it for ages, and I was sort of thinking, when that's in the Steam sale, I'll pick it up. But it was like it's quite an odd one for me to go for.
Yeah.
So when it just magically appeared in my Steam library one morning, I was pretty happy about that. But yeah, it's really, really good.
Looks like
Absolutely
you can get little
recommend it.
hats for the cars as well. I saw one with a wizard hat on it.
Yeah, like there's hilarious kind of upgrades. Every time you sort of score in a match, you get like a hat or something, or a new paint job, or a new body shape.
Carrots.
Yeah.
No, it does look fun.
Yeah.
I'm not very disciplined at sort of doing multiplayer stuff. Kind of the only multiplayer stuff I've been doing lately is GTA. Although that does require a bit of organisation, sorting the heists out and stuff, unless you just want to go in and kill stuff.
Yeah, this is just drop in, and it's literally drop in. 10 seconds later, you're in a match.
I think those games
with
that
some
work,
randomers, and it's
I mean, people will always say, "Oh, pugs are terrible," it's dropping. But I only ever pug when I play Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, and the fact I can just sit there and say, "Give me a game," and it just pops up, and I just start playing. Sometimes it's the cooperation's terrible, and sometimes it's a thing of beauty when everyone knows what they're supposed to do. I mean, but you don't even have to. A lot of these games, it's difficult because, especially in games where there's defined roles, you've got to do the whole thing, and people can take it very seriously. But a lot of times, it's just common sense. Just get in there and get stuck in, and don't be a dick. And that's really what.
There's none of it in this game though. It doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. It's just hilarious. And the more people that are in the match, the more chaotic it gets.
So how many cars per side is it? Is it
it's between 4 and 6, I think.
Right,
4
okay.
is 4 is a little bit slower and is a little bit easier to gain control of the ball.
Yeah.
And you're more likely to actually get some time with the ball. 6 is just chaos. It's just like bonkers, shit going everywhere. It is literally chaos. But like, that's what I mean. It doesn't really matter with a game like that. It's just like you're essentially just getting in a load of really good AIs from other players.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't matter if people are good or if they're terrible at the game. It's just immediate fun. It's just one of those sort of party games, I think.
Yeah, I might have to get involved. Actually, it does just look ridiculous fun.
It is. Looks like a lot of fun. That.
In the same way as like that crazy GTA track where you're just going round a donut ring and people just keep getting out and like blowing people up and stuff. Are there guns in it as well, or is it just nudging the ball around?
No guns in it.
It's all just doing like crazy physics and stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
You can score goals by nudging players' cars into the ball and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I suppose I've been really enjoying the cars in Mad Max, and I've been really enjoying the Batmobile. So maybe this is the next step.
It's a very, very different thing, though.
I know. Yeah.
It's very, like I say, it's very much like a party game.
Yeah.
It's one of those ones.
Cool. All right then. So, shall we talk some VR stuff then?
Oh yeah. Well, actually, I was going to just say there's one other thing I played, which was the Time Machine.
Okay.
Time Machine VR, which was it's a very short. It's an early access game on Steam at the moment. I think it's only about a couple of hours long, but I think they're adding more content later. But it's very high budget. It's
Unreal.
It's a really, really good looking game. Essentially, it's a time machine. The story is that it's set in the future, and there's a version of avian flu which is like wiping out the human population, and in order to make a vaccine against it, you have to travel back in time to the Jurassic era essentially, and study dinosaurs in order to find a cure. But what this essentially means is you've got like a dinosaur simulator. That's basically what it is.
Cool.
It's, like I say, it's very, very high budget, looks absolutely incredible. Now you basically kind of fly around in this little kind of shuttle thing, which then goes into a time machine kind of device, and you see all these kind of clouds kind of spinning past you, and the landscape kind of moves and stuff, and you're basically transported to, like, say, the Jurassic era, and you get to sort of swim around under the water, and the dinosaurs, I don't know how they look like photogrammetry. They're super, super realistic models, and you can get really close up and pause time, so that you can get a really good look at really dangerous dinosaurs. You can actually pause time and move out of the way of danger, but getting a really good sort of shot of them as they go past you. It's quite light on the gameplay. It's more on the kind of experiential sort of side of things, but it does so through game mechanics, essentially. Like for example, like one of the things, you have to scan these huge underwater, I think they're called Diphyosauruses.
Sounds kind of right.
I think if you say saurus on the end of anything, that's a dinosaur. But essentially, you do like a sonic scan. You do like an ultrasound pregnancy scan on one of these dinosaurs, and you look inside and you can see these little kind of eggs and embryos inside them.
Detective mode.
But it's just really cool just being in that place and just like kind of seeing this huge creature and then kind of seeing that it's pregnant and stuff. But I just thought it was really cool, and it was really interesting. But another sort of nod to what things are going to look like when big budgets get involved, and they're basically going to look insane. It's a really well put together game at the moment, and I think as they carry on, they're just going to add more scenes and stuff. So you'll have different eras and different dinosaurs to check out. But absolutely amazing. Everyone loves dinosaurs.
Yeah, there's a free demo of that available.
There is.
It's $10.99 for the early access version. Cool. This has been the Not Playing Podcast in partnership with notlistening.co.uk, where you can hear myself and Ian also talk about movies and TV on the Not Watching podcast, and also a bunch of funny guys, Adam, Ash and Will, talk about lots of funny stuff on the Not Listening podcast.
It's not me, so it will be funny.
Yeah, the other Adam, who runs our sort of network or whatever it is. If you want to get in touch with the show, please do on notplayingpodcast@gmail.com, or you can tweet or follow us on Twitter at notplayingpod. You can find the show notes for this show at notlistening.co.uk, and if you're listening to us on iTunes, then please do give us a review. Anyway, that's all for now. Thanks for listening. See ya.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.